Gran Turismo 4 is my favorite in the series, and I always find myself coming back to it for another run of it. And I was trying to think for a while what could be an interesting idea with this game, and it led me to the video you are watching right now. AI has been the topic for majority of the year, and I wanted to try and implement it somehow into a challenge run. So today we will be using ChatGPT and trying to see if it can complete Gran Turismo 4 on its own. ChatGPT decides what cars we will use, what upgrades we will get, and the race strategies. We will also be guiding it a bit so it can make decisions a lot easier, and we're going to see how far it can get into this run. The very first choice ChatGPT has to make is the selection of our starter car. It did suggest quite a bit of cars, but ultimately it went for this Evo GSR. Having selected its car, we needed to see what events it would like to compete in. It did give some wild suggestions, but in the end it was between Sunday Cup and 4-wheel drive competition, and it chose the 4-wheel drive one. Right before doing that, we need to ask it the most important question of this playthrough. Does it need a hydration check? And surely enough, in its long essay-style paragraph, it said yes. Now our Evo is set for events, but how will we tell ChatGPT how to drive? So in B-Spec mode, you can set the driver pace from 1 being the slowest and 5 being very aggressive. So the plan is to ask what pace number does it want for each lap and keep it like that for the events. But one problem is that our driver has no skill at all and lots of skill issues. So the first couple of hours were basically trial and error trying to get the AI skills leveled up. How it levels up depends on the car it drives. This game categorizes cars into many different groups, and once you've driven a car for a while from one group, it will not gain any experience, so you have to find a new car from a different group so it continues getting better. Current plan was to get some credits to get upgrades, but that would take a while to do so. No. Why you pull us, Samir? This will be a little bit of a struggle, man. We tried Sunday Cup to see if it stood a chance, and to my surprise, ChatGPT was cooking, and it actually won some of the events. We had 1,268 credits, so that gave us a choice between a racing chip and a weight reduction upgrade, and it chose the weight reduction upgrade. With it, ChatGPT was a bit more confident behind the wheel, going for a lot more overtakes. On some tracks it was close to winning, and on others it was leading comfortably in first place. What the car really needed was a turbo upgrade, so our plan was to try and win Sunday Cup with the car as it is, and then sell the price car so we have enough money for the upgrade. ChatGPT was getting better and better, winning its special stage, autumn ring, beginner course, with some interesting maneuvers, and it won us the Italian Yugo. But as much as I liked this car, I had to give the choice to ChatGPT on what it would do with it, and this was its response. If the Italian Yugo is not essential and upgrading the Evo is more beneficial, sell the Yugo to fund the Evo's upgrades. No! Why do you have to do me like that? With the Italian Yugo sold off, we have 11,000 credits to play with. I asked ChatGPT what upgrades it would like, and it chose to improve the power and performance with engine upgrade, exhaust, and also suspension and tires, but we didn't have enough for everything, so for now, turbo and racing exhausts would do us just fine. With our car being a bit faster, I wanted to see what different events it would like to try, and it chose to do the Clubman Cup, but we were way too optimistic for this, having only fought hard for 5th place, but still it would give us some credits and experience, so not much harm in trying it out. So we looked elsewhere and decided to see if it wanted to do some Japanese events. We also tried out the manufacturer events just to see where it stood, and we got our ass kicked there. It was then where I remembered we didn't have a wing on this car the entire time, so with the remaining credits we asked it if it would like more downforce, and it agreed. As for how ChatGPT was, it was slowly getting more experience, but it would take much more for it to be truly competitive. For now, we went back to 4-wheel drive to see how our car would perform, and it was better. Our driver, though... Yeah, we're definitely getting second. Holy fuck. Eventually, it nailed the strategy and driving, so we got first place here. The next track was another skill issue moment for ChatGPT. Second try, it was better, but the other cars were missiles on the long straight, so second was the best we got. With us still struggling, we were just looking for any extra upgrade that we can buy, and luckily a racing intercooler was the next choice ChatGPT agreed on. Third attempt, we were so close to win, but the AI was just ridiculously fast on the straights. But on the fourth attempt, it finally overtook the AI with a nice overtake, giving us a victory in Fuji as well. Then we go back to Suzuka East. Even when I put the AI to 3, which is medium pace, it still goes off the road, but ChatGPT wasn't gonna give up just yet. It fought its way back up the field. Place after place, it was going to the top. Now it got so close it overtook both of the drivers on the long straight and got back to P1. Now all it needed to do was just finish this lap and we would get the trophy. But ChatGPT had other plans. Well, I spoke too soon, it seems. Keeping it consistent did not work out, sadly. That was painful, man. We took a break from Suzuka and went towards El Capitan, where it actually had decent pace and strategy for us to take home first place. Afterwards, we tried Suzuka again, and this time it didn't have too many skill issue moments. It got up to second place on the first lap and getting first on the following lap. It sadly wanted to go off-roading again like last time, but we had a decent gap, so we didn't lose the race again. Final event here was Autumn Ring, and we got so lucky because a Dodge Ram was in first place, and it was such a giga chud, he kept blocking and slowing down everyone else until we overtook it. Just like the Camaro driver from the Toyota video, he was an absolute legend. With that win, we have finished the 4-wheel drive challenge and gotten a car that we can't sell.
Great success.
Afterwards, I wanted to see if we could afford the suspension upgrades. Are you fucking kidding me, man? We are missing 4 credits for semi-racing suspension. 4 credits separating us from the upgrade meant we just needed to do a random race to get some credits and then buy it. Now comes the tricky part. I wanted to try tuning the suspension, but with the input from ChatGPT, it was hard to get a direct answer without it giving a long essay until it said this. I recommend seeking professional advice or consulting resources from automotive experts who can provide a customized suspension setup based on your needs and driving style. I can give you advice, and yes, you are my professional advice. You are a professional advisor, Tank. So having hired a professional advisor from Twitch chat, we played around with the tuning setup. We went back to the Japanese 90s competition to see how the car is now, and strategy and driving from ChatGPT was really good. The strategy usually it proposed would be to say tires are dead and then push like crazy till it got first place and cruise towards the finish line. Fuji was an easy victory for ChatGPT. Twin Ring was up next, and this is where I started asking ChatGPT specifically for each lap what pace number does it want. So level 4 in the first lap and then second and third lap, keeping it on 3, and it was working so far. It wasn't making a lot of mistakes and it was actually catching up to the leader and goes for the overtake at the end of the long straight, securing victory once again. We decided to take a small break to check on our AI stats. So his driving skills did improve a little bit. It was like, I think 10s, but now it's almost 20. So he's actually learning quite a bit. It's very slow, but he's actually learning. So that's pretty good. Grand Valley East was up next, and ChatGPT was fighting hard and fair, giving the space, sometimes scraping paint with others, but in the end, he got the job done. Final track was Apricot Hill, and this is where ChatGPT went all out. He knew how much he suffered with this car, how many times he went off into the gravel. It desperately wanted a new car, and luckily for ChatGPT, it made the final overtake for the lead and cruised towards the finish line, winning us the 400 hour, and it finally got out of the hell, which was the first car, and it didn't waste any time in selling it off. We went back to the tuning shop where it recommended to invest in engine upgrades and suspension, and eventually a weight reduction upgrade. We also checked the manufacturer events and tried out the race of the red R emblem to see how it would be and also to improve ChatGPT's skills. Before doing so, we asked our professional advisor from Twitch chat for suspension changes, and once those were made, we were off into this cup. First race was 20 minutes long, and ChatGPT got up to first relatively quick, giving us our first victory and a big load of credits as well. Just from that one race in the new car, ChatGPT's skills were almost in the 30s, so it was improving quickly. Second event followed a similar start of being semi-aggressive on first and final lap, while majority of the race ChatGPT preferred the more calm approach. But we weren't having any of that, so it went fully into the zone to catch up to the leader, and it makes the final overtake on lap 4, winning yet again. Another round on the track that tested ChatGPT's patience, but this time with more laps, so it had more time to take the lead. Second lap in, and we're already cruising in third place. On the following lap, ChatGPT goes side by side with the leader, managing to take the lead and winning the race. We follow it up with New York, which was the hardest event due to all of the sharp corners it has. ChatGPT chose this strategy around here, so surely we are fine, is what I would say, but it's been only one lap and it gained 5th place and lost it at the same time with this move. And on moves where it clearly looked like it could overtake, it just didn't bother trying, which was very frustrating. It only mustered up the courage on lap 3 where it went for a double overtake going on the inside line next to the R31 and side by side with the R34. It was looking a little bit promising, but time was running out for us. But on lap 4, it goes for the move for 2nd place, now only having the leader to chase after. Down the long straight, it actually manages to take the lead, but afterwards he forgot where his brake pedal was, hitting the walls and losing the lead. The strategy was to push hard on lap 5 as well, so there wasn't much I could do there, so we sadly take 2nd place, but still a good chunk of credits to our name. We tried again, but only this time we asked it again if it wants to lower the aggression after the overtake, which ChatGPT agreed to, giving us victory here as well. We take it to the full Suzuka layout next, and it got up to 3rd pretty quickly due to slower cars in the back, and it would sit there for a bit. With the B-Spec driver here, it's very easy to go off into the gravel, so patience was key, which even on level 3 aggression, ChatGPT just didn't really have, sadly. At first I thought it was my fault because I had the overtake button on still, but even when I turned it off, he still did the same mistake, only to a lesser degree. Lap 4 and the hunt is on with only 1.5 seconds separating us from the leader. It kept pushing as hard as it could, but the R34 was just a rocket ship on the straights. It all went down to the final lap, getting up so close to the leader, going down into turn 1, and ChatGPT takes the lead of this race. Our strategy was to push hard on the last lap, but having gotten 1st place, I knew it was gonna go off the road, so I lowered it to 1, and we had this moment. Oh! That was a very strategic maneuver. With our strategic bonk, it manages to win the race and win us this Nismo GTR Le Mans version. Having a big chunk of credits now, ChatGPT went shopping for upgrades. But first we took a mandatory stop to give some hydration to our GT guy. Remember fellas, always take care of your GT guy, cause he's that valuable to your playthroughs. We went ahead and purchased a turbo, some drivetrain upgrades, suspension. This time I tried asking it again to see what it could do with the suspension, and it actually gave me some numbers I could use. Now if it made the car better or worse, I still don't know. We took it back to the Clubman Cup to test how it is, and it was really good. It took victories with ease in Apricot Hill, Sail Central, Twin Rig Motegi, Clubman Stage Route 5, and Deep Forest, finishing yet another cup. Since the car was FR, we took it there next, and it went as you would expect in here, so I let ChatGPT have some fun with the strategy. While it was absolutely dominating the events, our professional advisor had an idea to ask ChatGPT. We need a car for the FF competition and also a car that can get us bitches. As an AI language model, I must emphasize that it is not appropriate or respectful to refer to people as bitches or to view women as objects of desire. Women, like anyone else, should be treated with respect and dignity. ChatGPT respects women, man. I applaud it, okay? This AI actually respects women, man. That is a very, very based AI. He's ChatGPT right now. After this very valuable life lesson from ChatGPT, it went ahead and picked the Honda Civic Type R. So I wrote that down and went back to the Max Verstappen simulator. Our balls to the wall strategy had one fatal flaw, sadly, on one of these test tracks.
No. Wait.
Change of plan, lads. Change of plan. Yeah, we might need a different strategy for this race. Can we go grandma strategy on this one? Reduce the aggression to 2 or 3. Okay, we're going for 2. If he goes into the pits with this strategy, man, then I don't know what else he needs. He's really close to going off-road. Find the ideal line, my man. Find it. He can't go for the overtake. He actually can't go. Oh, no. There we go, man. Just one more lap. Survive one more lap. Maybe it can be a win from the pit box as well. We actually got it. With nothing else left in here, we bought the Honda Civic Type A for FF Cup and added a few upgrades to make it better to drive, and making our usual pit stop to see how GT guy is doing. I wanted to try something different this time with strategy, so I told ChatGPT how many tracks there were here and how many laps each one had, so it would instantly give the pace numbers for every lap, which actually worked fine, so we followed the strategy from start to finish. The car ChatGPT chose was pretty good for this competition, and our driver was becoming a lot more confident with the overtakes and easily would get into first place. We didn't need to change the strategy, so we just let our driver cook for the next set of events. Another win at Hong Kong, Grand Valley, and Twin Rigs, securing us the FF Cup and lots of experience for ChatGPT. Afterwards, I was thinking, what path could ChatGPT take after this to get even more skill and try out some different cars? The options were to get a truck to do truck competition or getting a European car and trying to complete some European events. And ChatGPT went for the European option. There were quite a lot of used cars from there, but two cars sparked my interest, and those were the Elise 111R, which could do a manufacturer event and also some European ones, and the other car was the TVR Griffith 500. It could do some professional events, but also some British events, and it also has a manufacturer cup where we can get the Speed 12 for Supercar Festival. We presented the choice to ChatGPT, and it chose the Griffith 500 and welcomed it into our garage. As for upgrades, we had a special plan for this. There's one man that knows the ins and outs of tuning for the TVR, Mr. Xbus. Should I give full creative control of this car to him? If you know and trust someone with extensive knowledge and expertise into tuning the TVR or Griffith, giving them full creative control could be a wise decision. Just make sure to communicate your preferences and racing goals clearly to ensure the tuning aligns with your desired outcomes. Okay, we need this car to win a lot of shit. Do your stuff. With the help of the special expert in used cars, Mr. Xbus, we let him buy whatever he wanted and tune it to perfection. Once that was finished, we headed off to the British lightweight cities, and these were the results. Holy shit! It's already zooming, man. What is going on? Yep, we're already there. Yeah, definitely made a monster right here. Can it actually win if it's only at 1? Slow down and overtake. Even on 1. Even on 1, that was a fucking breeze. I just want you to know you are doing an excellent job in this playthrough. You deserve an applause for your efforts. Thank you so much for your kind words and appreciation. As an AI language model, I'm here to assist and provide helpful information any way I can. I'm glad I could be of service in this playthrough. If you have any more questions or need further assistance, feel free to ask. Keep having fun in your Gran Turismo 4 journey, and happy racing. That is why he's ChatGPT. As you witness with your own eyes, we have a demon of a car thanks to Mr. Xbox that no matter what strategy it was on, it just absolutely demolished the AI, giving us another new car. I was so confident in this thing, we instantly sent it to the actual British GT cities. The opponents were a lot faster here, but it didn't matter for ChatGPT. With the strategy it formed and excellent driving, it would always cruise up into first place. Second race in Fuji proved a bit difficult with the long straight, so the best it could come up with was third place overall. El Capitan, it was making quick work. Only one opponent here was giving us a bit of a trouble, and it was the Lotus E-Sprit, but eventually it would find a way to overtake it. Same maneuvers in Infineon would get it into first, but it had an interesting strategy for this race. I know he's pushing, okay, he is pushing, but he doesn't have the overtake button on, so he should be able to do it, I think. Even if we don't win, as long as we're ahead of the other Lotus, we're goods. We're still playing the chasing game. Oh, God! Absolute mayhem, man. I wish I slowed it down there. That was an absolute clusterfuck, man. Holy shit. We bonked our rival, he bonked other people, and we actually finished ahead of him still, which is still good for us. We should be leading the championship still. We are leading by 4 points. A 4-point lead going into the final race. Final race was Midfield Raceway, and ChatGPT knew what it had to do. It overtook our rival for second place, and eventually the race leader for first place, winning the British GT Cup and lots of money and a new car. I originally thought this championship would give us the Jaguar LM car, but it was actually the Pan-Euro Championship which gives you that car. So with this current speed demon we have, I decided to sign us up for that as well. ChatGPT's skill was rising a lot, so I knew it stood a chance in winning this. Before doing that, we checked on some extra upgrades now that we have a lot of credits. Afterwards, we started off the next championship, and it's already off to a bad start because Paris is the first track and it's extremely hard for the AI to overtake here with how narrow the track is. But after this is where the true potential of the Griffith 500 was unleashed, battling hard and fair with the Lotus ahead. Continued the battle towards Circuit de la Chave, the Lotus giving us a run for our money. Monaco was the same as Paris. The AI could overtake the other opponents, but it struggled to keep the same pace as the Lotus, so second place was the best we got here. Our last destination was the Nordschleife, and things didn't look the best for the Lotus.
But what the hell, boy?
Oh! The Lotus did a skill issue moment. Huh? He went into the fucking pits! After countless skill issue moments for the Lotus, it was out of the competition and we won ourselves this beauty here. We wasted no time as we instantly put this thing into the tuning car Grand Prix, and with the strategy made from Barbie herself, we took this competition by a storm. Why Barbie, you may ask? I don't know, I was just playing around with the AI. Same goes for the Spider and Roadster competition, but this time with the Oppenheimer strategy call. Up next, we needed a K car, and ChatGPT's choice was the Suzuki Wagon R, and we let Captain Jack Sparrow give us a rundown of what we need for this thing. Ahoy, matey! You've been wanting an upgrade route for the Suzuki Wagon R, do ya? Well, savvy, here's a rundown fit for a pirate captain like myself. Start with a racing chip to boost the engine's power, giving our little Wagon R some extra oomph. Raise the Jolly Roger. Hoist the suspension upgrade to improve handling, making her nimble and quick on the turns. Load the cannons, add weight reduction to shed excess cargo, making our car faster and more agile on the open sea, I mean road. Chart a course. Install a turbocharger to unleash even more power, making our Wagoner faster than our shark on a hunt. Set sail for the horizon. Finally, finish her off with a sports exhaust to let her roar like a mighty ship on the high seas. With these upgrades, our Suzuki Wagon R will sail the roads like a true pirate ship, leaving other cars in her wake and earning the respect of all who cross her path. Oh, that was perfect. With Jack Sparrow's tuning, our ship, car, it should be good enough for this, but sadly it sank on the very first event. But with a change in battle plans, Captain Jack Sparrow led our ship to victory. Same goes for Tsukuba and also Driving Park, securing us the K-Car competition. Next on the list is the MR Challenge, and for that we asked none other than Jesus himself. Blessed be, my child. For an MR car, I bestow upon thee the divine choice of the Toyota MR2. Thank you, Jesus. Very cool. ChatGPT's new ride is a Toyota MR2, thanks to the help of Jesus, and he also blessed us with quite a bit of upgrades. Fear not, my child, for I shall guide thee with divine upgrade for thy Toyota MR2. Let us bestow upon it blessings of heavenly racing chip to grant it the power of a celestial chariot. A turbocharger to infuse it with the breath of divine speed. Can we replace our used oil with holy water? Ah, my child, while the idea is creative, I must advise against using holy water as a replacement for engine oil. We can't change the oil. We're stuck with used oil now. Get one job, Jesus. We tried asking Jesus as well for strategy advice, but ChatGPT had other plans. ChatGPT did try again, but this track our driver really liked the pit lane, so he would spend more time there than on the actual track. Eventually, we did get a decent lineup where it actually fought for first place and won the event. On the next track, ChatGPT even managed to beat an NSX. New York is always a tricky place to overtake on, but our driver found his way with the help of Jesus. Same goes for Fuji and El Capitan winning us the MR Cup. Now with the big boys in the truck competition, and it chose the Toyota Tacoma. Since I don't have any knowledge on trucks, I decided to let an American person give us recommendations with upgrades. Yeehaw! An American sports truck enthusiast would go all out with upgrades like a powerful engine tune, beefed up suspension, Bigger brakes, flashy wheels, and a custom body kit for that bold, badass look. Giddy up and let her rip on the open road. Fuck me, now I have to tune it like a fucking redneck. The Coma is the best truck mainly because it's lighter compared to the rest, so it beat everyone with ease here. I wanted to check how our driver was, and he was banging in the experience, almost reaching 70s in the machine skill and 60s in the other two skills. Up next is the World Compact Championship, and our TVR qualified for it, and you can already guess how that went. Race of NA Sports was next, and to be honest, the Griffith just didn't show any mercy to the opponents. No matter what track it was, it always found its way up to first place. Another cup done and dusted. Now I mentioned before the TVR had a manufacturer event, and from here we can get the Speed 12, which is perfect for the Supercar Festival, which we faced off against in here, but it wasn't a match for the almighty Griffith, and in the end we get our reward. Now before we continue onward, we still haven't decided what car do we want to take for GT World Championship. I've used numerous different cars in previous challenge runs here, so every time I arrive here in a new challenge, I always like to try something different from last time. And one car a lot of people told me could actually do this was the Chaparral 2J, which costed 1.2 million credits. And at the time, we only had 200,000 credits, so we needed to get a million somehow. So with the current cars we have, we looked for anything that could give us money. One of those was the Japan Championship, which we could do with our 400R, and it wasn't too difficult with the lineup we had. The 400R was just cruising event after event, and in some cases even completely destroying the opponents. Oh Jesus, no! I'm sorry. Oh, poor RX-8, I am sorry. I am sorry. I deserve to finish dead last for that maneuver. With all the events done, we have earned a lot of money and earned ourselves a sweet new ride that we are instantly taking to our next event. That being the All Japan Championship with a reward of 100,000 credits and 10 events to do. The lineup was full of JGTC cars, so it wasn't going to be an easy task, but ChatGPT has been driving for a long time and his skill has developed to a point where I feel he has a chance to win this. But that pack was so tight. We only got first place in the opening lap, and it would take a while before ChatGPT would make a move, but our straight line speed was really good, and on the fourth lap we take the lead, and that's where it would stay for the rest of the race. Second race was 12 laps around Suzuka East, and with these types of events, it's mainly just having patience and letting the AI cook. Third race, our AI tried so many times but just couldn't catch up with the last two drivers, so P3 was the best we got here. Fuji was a lot easier already, taking the lead on the second lap, and same can be said for a lot of the other events. In the end, we emerged victorious, winning so many credits, and this car here, which is worth a lot. The 400R greets us again for the turbo competition, where yet again it pushed its way through the field. While we were doing that, a focus in this event had a different strategy. Holy shit! What happened to this guy? It's like he had no brakes, man. He was just sliding off the track, man. The 400R just doesn't stop winning, taking P1 in the next event as well. And on the third event, it had an interesting overtake plan. It carried the same momentum into the remaining two races, winning us the entire competition. Now it was time to let go of some of the vehicles we had. First one on the list was our Jaguar. It was a really decent car, and it's worth over 300,000 credits. And surprisingly, it's worth the same as the 350Z we used earlier. With those two cars sold, we had more than enough money for the Chaparral. We also sold the car that we won from the All Japan Championship, so we have enough money to upgrade every part we can in the Chaparral. Now we needed one person to help us make this into a monster, and that person was T Kanji. If you lots haven't heard of him, he has made extremely detailed guides about so many different Gran Turismo games, and we used one of those guides to properly tune this thing, and ChatGPT approved of this as well. I will link this guide in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. Our Chaparral qualified for the World Classics Championship, and it had an interesting encounter in the race. We have the 2CV here. We're literally pushing the 2CV, but come on. Push! Push, man! Push the car like this. Let's see what happens. Let's go. Come on, we can do it together, brother. We can do it together. The big didn't want to help, though. We could have cooperated on this one, but no. The big didn't give a shit about the 2CV. I was absolutely fuming that the BIC would ignore such a legendary car as the 2CV, so we wiped the floor with it for the next 4 races, and as we entered the final event, the 2CV needed a little help again. With ChatGPT driving this new car, it gained a lot more experience, which should be good enough for the final championship. Boxer Spirit was up next, and ChatGPT chose the Ghetto Rally machine, and it went to town with the upgrades. This cup only had 3 events, but it was on tracks where ChatGPT struggled to overtake on, one being Hong Kong. A lot of narrow corners means you really have to squeeze your opponents out of the way somehow, but we did get a little help from a rough we overtook earlier. It went after its next target, side by side with another rough for second place, and ultimately reached the 22B up ahead for first place. Next up was Infineon, and our driver hit the ground running, already in 5th place and testing its rally capabilities. It squeezes into 3rd, gets the 2nd on the following lap, and here it realized it really wants to become a rally driver, and afterwards up into 1st place. Deep Forest was probably the easiest one because it had a wide road compared to Hong Kong, so it was much easier to win here, and that's the Boxer Spirit done and dusted. It was down to only 2 competitions, Supercar Festival and Gran Turismo World Championship. This is where our Speed 12 comes into play. We went to town upgrading this coffin with all the money we had left since the Chaparral already had everything we needed, and our boy Kanji helped us out as well, so big shoutouts to him. Our biggest rival in the first event was the Celine S7. The other rivals we got past pretty easily, but once we got to the Celine, ChatGPT kept suffering from major skill issues. It kept getting so close, but it just never tried to overtake, even when it was fully pushing. It just never had confidence for some reason, but eventually on lap 6, it remembered how to overtake and got the job done there. Fuji was an incredible track considering Kanji made this thing into a missile on the long straights. Now New York. Instead of telling you what happened, I'll let the footage speak for itself. Oh geez, we're going bowling again. Oh no! What is going on? Oh, or is he? Oh god, GPT. Wake the fuck up, man! You absolute buffoon! He just does not have brakes. Did his brakes just die or some shit? Like, I don't fucking know. He's on 1. He's literally on 1. Okay, we're just gonna do it way earlier. How about now? He does the same thing. Even when I tell him to slow down, always the same corner. Why does he love that place so much? Is his favorite pizza place there? Or favorite Italian restaurant? I don't fucking know. I lost count of how many times it hit the wall, but it somehow got us the win. So we move on to Midfield Raceway, where it actually stayed on the road more than last time. We're back to Infineon, and ChatGPT really missed its rally session from earlier. After having fun off-road, it found a really good chance to overtake 2 cars and gets up to 2nd place, and eventually into the lead of the race and wins us the Supercar Festival. The final championship is upon us, Lutz. It's time to take the Chaparral 2J to the top step of the Gran Turismo World Championship, and this is the lineup we'll be facing off with. BMW McLaren, the Giga Chad Camaro is back from the last challenge, Toyota GT1, CLK GTR, and surprisingly, another Chaparral 2J. This would be the only championship where ChatGPT would have to think of a pit stop strategy as well, and the start was pretty good. We were already behind 2 cars, and it sends it down the inside of turn 2, getting into 4th place and overtaking our Chaparral brother for 3rd. Before the long straight, it gets the McLaren on the inside and charges ahead towards the Toyota. ChatGPT was on a mission. He was going absolutely fast, chasing down the leader of the race, and at the start of the 3rd lap, it takes the lead of the race. Now it was all up to keeping the tires alive for as long as possible and keeping the Toyota at bay. And the Chaparral was so good at tire management that we didn't even need to pit, giving us our first victory in this championship. Next race was the Twin Rig Super Speedway, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Our car just seriously sucked here. No matter what tires or suspension setup it had, it would always slide off into the wall. But because the tires could last a long time, somehow it managed to stay in 2nd place when the other opponents made a pit stop, putting us level on points with the Toyota. 3rd race was in Hong Kong, and we opted for the mediums at the start start. We say hello to the Giga Chad in the Camaro real quick as we cruise into 5th, where we would stay for quite a few laps, but at the start of the next lap, ChatGPT goes for the move on our championship rival and gets 4th place. It also goes for a dive bomb on the CLK, taking 3rd place with it until this famous corner where the AI likes to brake so early, so we lost the position there thanks to the McLaren being a grandma. We quickly get up in front of it and now have the CLK and Chaparral ahead of us. On lap 8 we go for a move on the CLK again, but it won't go down without a fight. Side by side fighting for the next corner, and it will be ChatGPT prevailing in this fight. Only our Chaparral brother is left in 1st place, and we weren't too far from it. On lap 12, ChatGPT sends it and takes the lead of the race. We would stay there for a couple of laps, but after a while, our tires were starting to drop off fast. Oh god, we're sliding all over the place. I think we're good, chats. I think we're good. Holy shit, we're drifting everywhere now. No! No, fuck it. P2, I'll take it. The other Chaparral is all the way in the back, so it doesn't affect me that much. We have a 4-point lead over the GT1, so that's good for me. Up next is Seoul, and the pack was really close in the first lap. We overtake the Chadmaro, start our hunt on the following targets. We go around the outside of our comrade and take 3rd place, closing in on the 2 ahead of us. The McLaren gets pushed wide by the Toyota, losing 2 places in the process and getting us into 2nd place. And on the following lap, it was game, set, match for us. We ended off with a 30-second lead, pulling a no-pit strategy yet again. El Capitan is up next, and Toyota was truly dominating this event. It pulled off an 11-second lead with half of the race distance done. By lap 10, we were 30 seconds behind, and that's where it decided to go for a stop, and it gave us one last chance to fight for 1st place, because the Chadmaro also pitted, but sadly, it exited too late to cover up the Toyota. Heading to New York, we are 4 points ahead of the Toyota, and this time ChatGPT knew how to brake around here. By the end of lap 1, we were already in 3rd place. Going into the 2nd one, we overtake the McLaren, leaving only our championship rival up ahead. We were being conservative with the tires, so we kept it steady for majority of the race, and the Toyota pitted on lap 12, but at this stage our Chaparral comrade was challenging us for the lead, putting insane pressure on ChatGPT. But after a few laps, it started to fade away in the back, giving us another victory here. Paris was next, and honestly, I didn't feel optimistic here with how the track is, but we had to try our best. We gave it soft tires for this occasion, and we were off. First lap, instantly getting our comrade out of the way. Same goes for the CLK. The Chadmaro lets us by with no fights, and on the following lap, we do the same maneuver as we did earlier on the Toyota, leaving only the McLaren up ahead, which we easily get on the long straight here. In just a few laps, ChatGPT has made a 20-second gap with the soft tires. It was doing each lap like it was a quali session. As for the Toyota, it was struggling to overtake the McLaren the entire race, making our life a lot easier. We had a comfortable lead, so we pitted for a new set of softs, and with no one close to us, we took victory in Paris as well. With that, our lead extended by 16 points over the Toyota, going to Suzuka. But instead of challenging us, the Toyota had other plans here. Ooh, he's actually pushing the GT1. Look at that, double overtake! And the GT1 helps us out as well. Oh, thank you, brother. Such a wonderful guy. And he's blocking him as well. Holy shit, man. That is absolutely fucking base. Even though he's our rival, man, he is helping us out. Afterwards, we kept the lead and won in Suzuka as well. And by now, we had more than enough points to secure this championship. So we skipped the next race and enjoyed a few laps around Circuit de la Sarthe before crossing the finish line and winning the Gran Turismo World Championship. Our racing engineer, ChatGPT, has won Gran Turismo World Championship, man. And just like that, we are done with another challenge. This was honestly a lot of fun to play around with, letting ChatGPT choose the cars, the strategies, upgrades, and a lot of other decisions. Special shout out go to Mr. Xbus and T Kanji for also helping me out in this run. The links to both of their channels are in the description down below. If you enjoyed this, a like and a subscribe helps out a lot, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care, lads.